NFC with one exception.
Number 1.
Howie Roseman's made a couple of deals at the trade deadline. I'm going to put Philadelphia 1. They're very good in one-score games. And when Saquon Barkley gets 15 touches, they're undefeated. I think the A.J. Brown situation kind of gets in the way. The only way to puncture a great team is drama in the locker room or a severe injury. So I think their last game, when A.J. didn't play, that was their true identity. A power run team, Saquon 15 touches. I think the two best teams in the league right now are NFC teams. One doing it on roster, one doing it on coach and quarterback, and a good defense. Philly 1, Rams 2, and with that, Nick Wright is...
Yeah. The Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not even going to address the whole identity, A.J. Brown, this, that. I'm just... We had the Eagles had a bye, so we all had a bye of the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, can he throw, run, this, that. We all were given a break from that, and it was actually pretty nice. Okay, it was nice and relaxing. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed not trying to have to unpack all of that. But now the Eagles are back. Now they're going to be taking on the Packers Monday Night Football. Which means then there's not going to be a lot talking about the Eagles going into the weekend. And there'll probably be a little bit of talk, but not as much as any of the other games leading to the actual weekend. And then Monday is obviously going to be overrun with everyone talking about what happens on Sunday. And so Monday night games are a little bit weird in that regard. Sometimes it's Monday Night Football. It's the Monday Night Football, yet somehow it sometimes can kind of get lost in the fold of things, unless it's like a game that everyone is like obsessed with, like the Chiefs and the Bills, the Chiefs and the Eagles, Eagles, Cowboys, when the Cowboys are like actually competitive, which has been a long time. But I'd say right now it's interesting to hear what Colin's talking about. And, I've talked so much about this with how crazy this season has been. And a lot of times I've mentioned this when I'm defending a team like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Bills, when maybe things are not necessarily panning out how you initially had it all written up throughout the course of the beginning of the season. But when it all comes down to it in the playoffs, got to have it moments like, you're going to have some faith. You're going to have a lot of faith, and you're going to have a lot of confidence in teams like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, etc. And I want to drill down on that a little bit more, really, from the Philadelphia Eagles perspective, because I haven't had to really air out that take from the side of the Philadelphia Eagles, because it hasn't really inherently been relevant to them, the way how their season individually has unfolded. But this is what I do want to say. And the Eagles, and again, I'm not making any claims about how the season's going to end. I think it's always funny and hilarious how people make Super Bowl predictions so far in advance, all this. Like, that's not me. I always try to emphasize that. Like, I don't care, because I just know things come down to such crazy things as the seasons, as the weeks unfold and whatnot. But the reality is, from the Eagles' perspective, where the Chiefs are obviously dealing with some of their issues that they're dealing with, the Bills are dealing with some of the issues that they're dealing with, and also they're just two teams out in the AFC, obviously. The Rams have been great. Matthew Stafford's great. Sean McVay's great. The Eagles have obviously proven to be able to beat them many times, and they're dealing with kind of Puka Nacua going in and out of the lineup and whatnot. Some of the Rams' defensive woes. I know they can shut down bad teams, but they haven't been able to shut down great teams. The Seahawks have been unbelievable and have been awesome, and Sam Darnold has been elite and special, been singing his praises, but still a young team that has not been there before. That's just a reality. And again, the Detroit Lions dealing with their issues, some of their injuries, some of their coaching on both sides of the ball that they're still trying to figure out what they're coordinating. The 49ers dealing with their just host of injuries, and same thing with the Bucks, and et cetera, that the Eagles, if the Eagles were the Chiefs, if people had the same level of confidence that the Chiefs have been able to instill in people, you would say that the Eagles would have no business losing a Super Bowl. They would have no business to not win it all. That who should be able to surpass them? And the reality is the Chiefs, I think it's fair to say that the Chiefs have earned that right to have a more unconditional trust in them because of what we've seen them do year after year after year. But the second team to be able to get offered that are the Philadelphia Eagles, without a shadow of a doubt. The Chiefs and the Eagles have been the two best teams in the NFL since 2017, since this run has started for both of these teams. They both have been to the most Super Bowls. They both have won multiple Super Bowls. The Chiefs have won 3. The Eagles have won 2. But the problem is, the reason why people lack that level of confidence, and I'll say it's understandable to a point, is that one, Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, that's the coach quarterback duo more than anything, more than adding in like AJ, Devontae, etc. They've won one. They went to one and they lost one and they won one. Whereas if they had won in 2017, if that was Jalen Hurts and Sirianni winning back in 2017 as well, you would say, hey, these guys won 2. They've been to 3 to get, you would be able to say that probably a little bit more with your chest out. The way how you can obviously say that about Mahomes and Andy and Spags and company. But the Eagles don't 100% have that going for them. And then you have the issue of, you got a new offensive coordinator. You're still working that out, and you are. And although he had a great game against the Giants, which I was really impressed with, there's a fundamental difference between calling games and having a great game plan against the New York Giants and against the Los Angeles Rams, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions. It's just different. And so I don't know if you can necessarily say like, I don't think many Eagles fans have like this unconditional confidence of like, Kevin Patullo, he's going to call a great game. Super Bowl, he's calling a great game. Let's go. Like you just can't have that confidence. You just can't. And you couldn't have that confidence with Fangio or Kellen Moore even. You had to be a little squeamish to be like, this is the biggest game for them. And that was always my argument going into that Super Bowl last year, that it was like, it's just another game for Andy and Spags. They've been there. They've game planned. They've done this a million times already in Super Bowls. They've won. They've lost. They know what it's like. They know how much to overreact or underreact after the first quarter, after the second quarter, et cetera, et cetera. Where like Fangio and Kellen Moore's like, oh my gosh, can't believe this is happening. I'm calling plays. I've been with the Philadelphia Eagles for 3 minutes and I'm in the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts right now. I'm like, come on, you gotta sometimes just recognize the humanness of it all and just be like, oh my gosh, Fangio had the best thing going for him because at least he'd been in the NFL for a billion years, right? And he'd been around the block once or twice, and he's got that like old man strength where he's like, I don't care if I win or lose. I'm not basing my pride and identity around whether I got a ring or not. Like he's, and I kind of believe him. It's one of those things that you say kind of in case you lose and how you kind of justify your life as you're getting older. But like he obviously wants to win. He knows what's at stake and all of that. And so the Eagles have scratched a lot of those boxes, but the way how you really reinforce that, the way how you really do it, and again, I'm a firm believer that the Eagles have nothing to prove, and I talked about this also going into this season about how it's just like, if the Eagles win, it's like, oh, they have a stacked roster, what are you going to do, blah 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 blah, and if they lose, it's I told you Jalen Hurts isn't, I told you Sirianni, I told you AJ Brown's problem, like, right? It's like it really is damned if you do, damned if you don't with the Eagles, but that's the general media perception, not my perception. And so for me, I always looked at it that the Eagles, they're not doing everything they can to go back to back. That like they want to go back to back. That's the intention, to go back to back. You want to win multiple Super Bowls. Super Bowl windows are always significantly more narrow than anyone ever wants to admit. And the way how I always looked at it, considering this core, considering the health and the ages of Devontae, Saquon, Lane Johnson, Mailata, when you just look at the team as a whole and what they are, your objective is to win another Super Bowl within in this next 3-year window. And now that changes slightly if AJ Brown leaves. Like I don't know. I'm not going to try to guess or predict what's going to happen with AJ. And I said, I think I said this the other day after they made a couple of their trades, that at the end of the day, like when you're talking about Jalen Hurts, when you're talking about this great team that the Eagles have built, like you're really hoping for 2 Super Bowls. You know, anything more than that, like, you are by definition like historically great. Like, you're historical. You're amazing. Jalen Hurts and this team with Devontae and whatnot, they win 3 Super Bowls. It's like, it's historical. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Think about how much people crown the Chiefs, and rightfully so. It's like, they got 3 Super Bowls. Mahomes got 3 Super Bowls, and if he never wins another Super Bowl, this will still be considered the Mahomes era, and he's amazing, he's elite, he's special, blah 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 blah. And again, understandably so. So it's just like, you know, winning 3 or 4 or more is like, again, it's just great at that point. You want it to happen, you're grateful that it happens, but like, if it's anything less than that, you can't be like, oh, I was expecting to win 5. It's like, yeah, I mean, that would be nice, but like, what are you going to do? And so for me, the way how I look at this team, how it's constructed, and when I look around the league and see how these other teams are playing, the Lions are not this unstoppable juggernaut, the Chiefs are not this unstoppable juggernaut, the Rams are not this, you know, like, there's no other freight trains where you're just like, all right, man, this is crazy. Like, the Eagles have that head start. They're the ones that won the Super Bowl, and majority of their key pieces were there and won that Super Bowl, and they're in their prime, or they're about to enter their prime, or they're just about to leave their prime. Like, the main faces, the people that you really need to rise to the occasion: AJ, Devontae, Jalen, Saquon, Mailata, even Lane Johnson, who's obviously, you know, older, Cooper DeJean, Mitchell. Like, they're there. They're all there. Fangio is still there. You know, the biggest question mark is Kevin Patullo in this moment of time. But like, they're there. They should have that head start. They should have that ability to be like, you truly are chasing us, and we've been there now. If the Seattle Seahawks find themselves in the NFC Championship game going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Eagles should be able to be like, that's great, you made it. But like, we know what to do. You don't. And if the Eagles find themselves in the Super Bowl, and whether they're playing the Chiefs again or whether they're playing the Bills or whoever, it's like, obviously, if it's anyone but the Chiefs, it's, again, we've been here. This is our 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years or whatever. Like, we know what we're doing. And it's how the Chiefs have been able to lean on a lot of these other teams over these years. It's like, we know how to win. We know what to do. We can go on the road. We can be at home. Like, you're going to break. We're not. We know what we need to do. And you want to see the Eagles be able to continue to do that. You want to be able to see the Eagles reinforce that, right? Because it is something that we've consistently seen with the Chiefs over these years of like, they truly never really beat themselves. And that's how they've consistently been able to be as great and as consistent as they have been. And you want to see the Eagles be able to mimic that, because they have shown the ability to do that. They've shown that they also are an unbelievable team. They've shown that they have been historically great. And it's just, it is fascinating, because I think it's so interesting to me, because I think a lot of people, you know, you have the Eagles there and stuff like that. I really think it's by virtue of them, the fact that they won the Super Bowl last year, that people would feel maybe like weird, or that they would get too much hate if they didn't put them at the top. But I just think if you ask Colin Cowherd right now, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Do you think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl? I think he would say no. I really believe it, because I was surprised that he even put the Rams at 2 and the Eagles at 1, because just yesterday, I think it was, or a couple of days ago, he said the Rams were the best team in the NFL. He said the Rams were the best team in the NFL. And that's why when I was watching this whole thing and it got to 3, I was waiting to see who's going to be 2. I'm like, is he about to put the Eagles at 2, or is it, you know, what's it going to be here? And so it's just interesting to me, even with the Rams now and Matthew Stafford playing great. Matthew Stafford's been playing unbelievable. Like, it would be totally up to Jalen and that defense to be like, that's great. The defense is going to make Matthew Stafford look like an old quarterback. And Jalen Hurts is going to be like, that's great. Stafford's been balling. It's my time now. Get out of the way, old man. Go retire. Go hang out with your family and your kids. Like, it's my time to conquer now, right? Like, just like we saw Tom Brady do, just like we saw Patrick Mahomes do, right? Like, just like we saw the Patriots do, just like we saw the Chiefs do, right? Like, that's what you do. You officially arrive. You officially arrive in greatness. And so I'm just fascinated to see. I'm fascinated to see how this all unfolds for the Philadelphia Eagles, and in a season where everything just feels pretty messy, pretty chaotic, pretty crazy for all around, right? Where the Colts are losing to Steelers, the Packers are beating the Steelers, the Packers are going toe to toe with the Cowboys. Then the Cardinals are beating the Cowboys with Jacoby Brissett. The Panthers are beating the Packers. The Bills are. Patrick Mahomes is having one of his worst games of his career against the Buffalo Bills, but then the Buffalo Bills lose to Michael Penix, right? Just all been the Eagles lost to Jackson Dart and the New York Giants. Like, it's just they beat the Rams, but they needed a blocked field. I think it was a multiple blocked field goals, or one of them was a punt. I forget. Honestly, I already forget because it's been such a crazy season. Obviously, I know the main one was the blocked field goal that was then returned for a touchdown, but I forget if the other one was also a blocked. I think it was also a blocked field goal. You can't rely on multiple blocked anything to win a game in the playoffs. It's a tough way to live life. So it's just such a crazy season, and when there's such chaos, when there's such craziness, all roads should, not saying they will, should point to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. In a sea of chaos, it's like, where's the stability? Where's the compass? And it should be it should be the teams that have been the best teams, and that's the Eagles and the Chiefs. So, and the Eagles have been even better. The Eagles should be better. They should have the better roster. They have a quarterback that has really elevated and continued to improve his game and continue to evolve. And so the pressure's got to be on right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. The pressure has got to be on. Things happen fast. Things happen real fast in the NFL. So there's a lot at stake, and I think I'm for someone who's for the most part been able to handle pressure pretty well in those situations. Like, I feel it, but a lot of times, especially with sports, it's like, I want it. I've always been that person. I'm like, I want the last shot. I want the ball. Give it to me. And anytime they ever talked about, if you're ever watching a game and you see like the broadcast, like, oh, this guy can just handle such pressure. And it would always drive me crazy a little bit, because I'm like, if you put me in that situation, like, I do it too. Like, and whenever you see other players that like don't want that moment, I'm just like, oh my God, do you know how lucky you are right now? Like, you're on the court, you're on the field, the moment is in your hands, and you don't want it. Like, are you serious? Like, I'd live for that. Please put me in. I want that opportunity more than anything. But as I get older, as I watch, as I recognize that not everyone has that mentality necessarily. And again, I've faltered under pressure too. It's not to say that I'm just this perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. But I do continue to find it more and more impressive now when I do see people really, truly rise to the occasion. And it's why I've been so insanely impressed with Jalen Hurts and how he's played. And it's why I was really impressed with Josh Allen against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. And Romo pointed out really well, where he was just like, some of these throws, some of these plays, like, he can feel the pressure. He can feel the intensity of the moment. Chiefs, Bills, both teams got to have it. They know what's at stake for them. This is also the ultimate barometer game against each other, because they always play each other in the playoffs. Like, that game is arguably the most important regular season game, even though the Chiefs fans always try to downplay it. Like, it's such an insanely important game. And like, every time you drop back and you're letting it rip, you're just like, oh, like, it's the pressure. You can feel it. You can truly feel it. And Jalen Hurts seemingly has that in every single game he plays, no matter what, because there's just such a sea of endless doubt around him. And like, every throw, every movement is so nitpicked that it's just, I mean, think about how he threw that one interception. It was like the end of the world. Meanwhile, we got plenty of other quarterbacks who are letting it rip and throwing interceptions, and it's like, yeah, quarterbacks throw interceptions. What are you going to do? And so to see Jalen elevate and rise to the occasion, if he can win another Super Bowl here, especially go back to back, I genuinely will believe that Jalen Hurts has one of the greatest stories in all of sports. Just the sheer fact that he has been doubted and rejected in a lot of ways, benched, moved on, whatever, passed on every single phase, and then to see him lead the Eagles to a Super Bowl already, which again, he doesn't owe anything to me. It's already validated. His story already is that story for me. I get tremendous inspiration from Jalen Hurts and all of that. But if you get he gets another one, I mean, like just think about it in this era where it's Joe Burrow, Lamar, Josh, Mahomes, Stafford, and we know the Bradys of the past, the Elways, the Mannings, etc. And you have Jalen Hurts now up there. Like it just would be wild. It would be wild and be an unbelievable story for this Eagles team and Jalen Hurts. And really, this is my long-winded way of saying that, like, it is there for them. It is there for them. And if they have the execution, if they have the vision, if they have the health, and they have the organization, and a little bit of luck, you always need a little bit of luck from the football gods. Always, every single year. There's never been a single Super Bowl winner that hasn't had a little bit of luck from the football gods. You always need it. You always, even if it's just health, you just always need it. If they have it, then it should be theirs. They should not be looking up at anyone. But it's all up to the Eagles. It's all up to the Eagles to make it happen. So I got anxious thinking about it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles? The Eagles are so easy to talk about, man. I could just go on and on and on. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.